So what was your first actual big break with that? Do you remember who your first paid client was and how you sort of validated this weird concept?
Yeah, well, I remember the first sale coming through once we launched the website. So we launched the website. I got really excited. It was like October of 2008. And like, we flipped it live the night before. And so I woke up expecting like an inbox full of money, like so much traffic that all the servers across the US were melted. And 12 people had visited the website. Not a single person had bought. I looked at like where people had visited from, and I could tell it was my grandmother multiple times, my mom, like the guys that we had built the website. Like it was only places where I obviously knew people. And I realized that two things that happened. The first thing was like, oh, you can't just put a website up and people will just magically show up. Like you have to promote it. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that does make sense. But then a sale came through and I was like, someone found it. It was my business partner who helped build the website. So that was my first actual sale, was $3 from my business partner. And he didn't tell me he was going to do it. And I remember sending him a text and I was like, Dennis, come on, man. Like it was so like exciting for a moment and then just kind of bummed me out.
But I think that's actually a good lesson that your friends and your family, people who are interested in what you're doing, support you first, right?
Oh, absolutely. And from there, it actually became, okay, well, how can I promote this? Let me go to my friends and family. I literally went into my inbox and was like, I'm going to just email everyone in here and not ask them to buy, but just say like, here's this crazy idea. Here's what I'm working on. Do you know anybody who might be interested? Like, what do you think of this thing? And so many people wrote back and they're like, you're an idiot. Don't do this, which is fine. That's, that's their opinion and they're afraid of doing something like that. So they're projecting their fears on me. I've learned that over time. And I didn't accept their fears as something I should think about. I accepted it as like, okay, well, not for you. I'm going to keep moving forward. But yeah, then I started to get a couple sales, and it was a client that we had worked with would buy a day. And then a client that we worked with actually emailed, they were like an agency. And so they had other businesses. So they emailed a couple businesses. They're like, look at this crazy idea this guy's doing. And like 3 or 4 people bought from there. Now, unfortunately, that only got up to like $13 because the pricing scheme of Irish Shirt was $1 on the first day, $2 on the second day. And the whole calendar was for sale at $1 incremental price every day. So even with like 5 sales, I made $13. It wasn't glamorous or anything. But you're right. Like that's exactly where I started. That's actually where I start with every project I've done since then, because it works. It's the network that I have that I can go to that I know trusts me. That, people want to start with social media on so many of these projects and they immediately say, I need to create a Twitter account, I need a Facebook page, I need all this stuff. You have no trust there. You've established no rapport with anybody. Even if you already have, it's not as great as what you have as if you just emailed someone that knows you and said, hey, check out this project. Will you support me in some way? It doesn't have to be financially, but whatever you can do. And that has worked for me over and over. I continue to do it. Every project I do, I always build a little pre-launch list of people I can reach out to that I think make the most sense to talk to about these things. And like you mentioned in my book, Creativity for Sale, I had a list of 150 people, and it was kind of broken into chunks of 50s. It was 50 friends and family that I could talk to about this, 50 people that I knew that were like business acquaintances, and then 50 people that I wanted to reach out to that I think I could reach through my network, or I didn't know them personally. Kind of like influencers, I guess you would say. I don't love that term, but there were people that I didn't have a direct contact with. And that for launching that book is the list that I used. And so I kind of repeat that process. If I need to do more promotion of something, it'll be a smaller or bigger list.